Welcome to another episode of This Ain't Normal. I'm your host, Karee Neptune, here with my co-hosts, Osei Jumpy, Chaz Moore. What's up, guys? How you doing?
Hey, doing?
What's up?
How's you guys' Christmas? Everything or Kwanzaa? I don't know what you guys you guys celebrate Christmas?
Thanks, Kwanzaa. What the hell?
Yeah.
I mean, no disrespect to anyone who
How's the
celebrates Kwanzaa,
holidays?
but what
Well,
are we doing?
yeah. How's the holidays?
Good.
Yeah.
Um,
Good.
24-hour stomach bug on Christmas,
Mm,
but it was only 24 hours, and
okay.
honestly, I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I'm coming down with something now. I'm not feeling great.
Oh shit. You did that. Yeah, you did a little
Yeah,
sniff
he,
there,
yeah,
like
he's
just to confirm you weren't feeling great. You're like, I got to sniff
right.
here, sniff real hard.
Yeah,
Yeah, man. It's like when you call to work, like, oh yeah,
right, exactly.
I'm sick.
yeah,
I
I'm
can come in
sick.
if you want,
Cough, cough,
but
Yeah,
cough. Right.
yeah.
damn, I'm glad I called them niggas. Good rest of the day.
Yeah. So let's get into it. I, f- I feel like basically Trump's basically president already, and he's basically doing shit because they don't even talk about Biden anymore.
No,
So it's weird how that's going. Um, so what we happened the past couple weeks is Elon Musk is maybe co-president or co-consul. Like I don't quite understand what his role in the administration is. I mean, I know he bankrolled the campaign, so
right.
um it just makes me think. And then yesterday he said a couple of days ago he said something that was kind of deep to me. He called out Republican racists, which
Yeah.
is from a guy from South Africa
Well,
who.
so yeah, so
Oh,
so
yeah, I'll get into it. I'll say because like
What?
I have a lot of questions here.
What
yeah, so
just let me
basically,
let me
so
Yes.
real
yeah, go
quick.
ahead.
Let me just interject. President, like even when they were writing the Constitution and whatnot, they used a term like president of the Glee Club. Like president never before in English language didn't really have this exalted title of like head of state.
Sure.
So yeah, if look, Trump could be the president, but then Elon would be like prime minister or like head of state. President in the actual sense of word of like, yeah, I'm president of the kennel club, right? That's what president really. That's what that word is. It never had an exalted term,
It didn't
and so
denote real
now we're
power.
kind of going,
It didn't
huh?
denote real power, basically.
It didn't denote real power. So
Yeah.
we Americans, we kind of think that we use that term as a term of power, but it really doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
It's
That's
it's a
interesting.
it's a very small term. So yeah, Trump might be like you said president, but he's not the head of state.
Yeah, in terms of the policy thing. Yeah, it seems like Elon Musk is running the policy part of it, which I guess that does make him prime minister. And
Yeah,
and Trump's just like, I'm out of jail. I just didn't want to go to jail,
Yeah, basically.
so we good.
yeah.
Yeah. So also, what's your feeling on this? Because we get a lot of Elon Musk and how I think it shows that we really do live in a plutocracy
Yeah, I
because
mean,
because he basically was like, don't vote for this bill that they worked out with the Democrats, and he threatened to essentially finance all these primaries,
right, which
and
you
a
can
lot of
do.
these Republicans, yeah, which you could do, and a lot of these Republicans backed down, so they did end up getting like a last minute deal,
Right.
but it just for a guy he is the richest man in the world, but he wasn't elected to have this much power is really disconcerting. So, like, what's your view on this, Jose?
So in terms of just the Elon thing, there's not anything it's not a concept that is foreign to Americans. And in fact, what they used to do was say that George Soros was this type of person. Like,
Yeah.
George Soros funded DA, this George Soros funded whatever. And now don't get me wrong, I'm sure George Soros was throwing some money at some of these folks, but George Soros's goal wasn't to run America,
Oh,
right? Like, um, he wanted to be like, oh, I hope America goes in a good direction, and I like that to happen for my kids. And I remember growing up and seeing, fascists when I was, and I want to be able to fight fascism and stuff like that. But like George Soros wasn't kicking it at the White House with, what I'm saying? Like he's just this dude who gave some money to people, and he's like George Clooney. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like it was just a George Clooney type dude. It was like, yeah, we do a fundraiser for these candidates that I like. There's no different than the Mercers or the Koch brother kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, the difference with Elon though is, and it's interesting. Elon kind of took a look at what Russia was doing, and in my opinion, I'm not saying this
Yeah.
is what he does. Obviously, the only person who knows this is Elon. But from what I can see, he basically was like, "This is a system that is ripe for takeover. If you have enough money, right? If you have enough money, you can basically buy the country." And I think that he bet on himself and said, "All right, let me see what happens if I try to buy this country." He got with Peter Thiel, and they were like, "Tell Trump Jr. that we want JD Vance, who's a Silicon Valley guy, in as vice president. So we're going to embed Silicon Valley into the presidency. We're also going to do this stuff regarding crypto, right? Because we want to be able to basically find ways of being able to funnel in foreign money without anyone knowing. So we want to be able to make these things. So they come up with Freedom Coin and all this other kind of crazy stuff.
And
Um,
Twitter. Like I didn't get
Twitter.
Twitter, but
And he
like,
purchased Twitter because he was
yeah,
like the best way to get people to do my bidding is to basically control the discourse on
yeah.
Twitter. So he says it's all about free speech. You say whatever you want. So Twitter spent the last 3 years being like nagger, 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 nagger. And then all of a sudden, when people are like, hey, bruh, what's up with these H-1B visa people? He's like, you guys are contemptible racists.
We
Sir,
need to talk about that. Yeah.
you've been allowing every yokel named Jethro or Cletus to call everybody else fucking the N word, and all of a sudden, now they're contemptible racists because they're trying to affect the way that you do your business, and it's supposed to be free speech. You're starting to deplatform these folks.
Yeah, that's
So like
wild.
so it was like it was an Ocean's 11 esque heist that was put on by Vivek Ramaswamy, JD Vance, Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, believe it or not, and
A lot of
the
tech
blue,
bros. A lot of tech
yeah,
bros.
all the tech bros were like, guys, we could steal the White House, right? And they were like, okay, who's going to be our leader? It's going to be like, all right, we'll have it be Peter Thiel and Elon Musk, and they'll understand what it is that we want as these tech billionaires, and they'll go forward and make the thing happen. Well, how are we going to do this? I know. I'll buy freaking Twitter. Okay, cool. After I buy Twitter, then I can control the narratives. I can throttle the stuff I don't want people to see, and I can boost the stuff I do want people to see. I can give extra monetization to the stuff that I do want to see. Blah blah blah. Oh, Russia wants to get involved. Cool. I don't give a fuck. Hey, Russia, go ahead and pay all these people to say whatever they want. Won't do, won't do, want. By the way, during the election, I'm going to pay people in Pennsylvania to vote for Donald Trump. I'm going to actually pay you to do that. And I'm going to create this thing where I'm going to buy door to door workers who are going to go door to door talking about vote for Trump. That's all crazy.
Yeah,
Merrick Garland should have run in, but again, toothless. He should have been like, I literally have seen enough. I don't need more any evidence. That is illegal as hell. And so now I'm going to run because it's a finance contribution. That's not like that's illegal as fuck. Pick him up, put him in jail. What are we doing here?
But I'll say, is it possible that Elon Musk, and this is an indictment of a system, is it possible Elon Musk is too big to fail?
Oh no, that was the bet because
Yeah,
here's the
okay.
thing: you could have done any mogul before Elon Musk could have done this. The thing is that no one actually went out of their way to be like, you know what? I think I'm gonna buy America. Just no one ever thought that. Go ahead.
I don't think anyone did it overtly, right? Like where it's out in the open. So it probably has. There, they had these super PACs and super money has come in. Like the Koch brothers tried, right, but not necessarily buy America. They wanted to buy like ideology and culture, but they tried. But no one's done it so overtly
Yeah,
with so
that's what I
many
mean.
different pieces.
Yeah.
um,
Well, isn't that partly because there's never really been a transactional president like Trump before? That's just so transactional that you could be like, "Here's $2 billion. Shut up. I'm gonna do
Well,
my thing." Like,
well,
then I,
that's the
you
well,
know,
that's the thing, right? That's what I was saying. Like they learned, in my opinion, they saw what Russia was doing. And they were like, "Oh
I can
shit,
do that.
I can do that.
Yeah,
yeah,
That's all I gotta do. Pay this
yeah.
motherfucker.
You
yeah.
know,
Yes,
100 million to do what? Yeah, I can do that.
I can do that."
Invent some bots. You know, and what you guys are saying too is right with the tech bros. But you know, Bezos, what paper did he buy?
Washington Post.
Yeah,
Yeah, and so like they all bought these media companies as well. You know, but if you would have went back 30, let's say 25 years ago, maybe even 20, maybe 30 years ago, and said, "Hey, a a website that's similar to MySpace is going to change global politics." I've been like, I wouldn't have understood what you're saying, you know, because Twitter is just basically, you know, the 10th generation of MySpace, right?
right.
Sure.
And it's so insane that concept has changed not only the world in a way, but changed the world in a way that we would have never been able to predict or never been able to envision.
It changed the world in a bad way, if we're keeping it real.
Yeah,
Like,
I
no,
agree.
it made the worst timeline.
yeah,
Yeah.
It made the
Yeah.
worst timeline. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So it's okay. So I guess the question then is Elon Musk the symptom of the disease? Because I think we're kind of implying that he's the symptom of a much greater problem that we live in essentially a plutocracy. Or is it something specific with social media? Like, I mean, what do you think it is? I mean, is it
I don't think he's the symptom. I think he is an opportunist of
okay?
That's
I
obvious.
think he's an opportunist of a situation. So like, but like, don't get me wrong. There is a disease and there are symptoms. But he's just one of those people who was like, "Yo, this person like keeps like coughing. How do I use that to my advantage?" You see what I'm saying? Like, it's like one of
Yeah.
those type of things. Like, I don't think he's I think he's an opportunist. Um, I think he worked, and again, what's scary about it is that he's an opportunist that doesn't have any boundaries. He doesn't have any regulation. He's working with the Saudis because that's who also partly owns Twitter.
Yeah.
He's working with, these different governments. He's trying to get in on these different governments now because it worked in America. So now he's like, what's Germany talking about? How do I influence Germany now? Right? Like, so the best way I can kind of put it is kind of like is like if like Trump for the last 10 years has been Cobra Commander, right? And everyone's been like, oh my God, he's terrible. He's horrible. He's horrible. And then somebody was like, I'm gonna go around the world and get DNA from all the worst niggas ever and create Serpentor. And it's like, oh shit,
It's way
oh
worse.
shit. Like, this is worse. Fuck Cobra Commander. I'm not even worried about that dude no more. What the hell is that? Right?
Yeah.
Like, that dude's smart. He's stronger. He's crazier. He's like more bloodless. Like, fuck Cobra Commander. Fuck him. Serpentor deserves a movie. Cobra Commander got 30-minute episodes. Serpentor gets a movie and was like the dude for the rest of the shit. Like, that's kind of where we're at right now.
Well, the one part to me, Chaz, is that he is Elon Musk is talking about things that like the people that voted for Trump don't want.
Yeah.
Like he's talking about these visas, H-1B visas, like just bring in the smart people from all these countries because Americans are dumb. Him and Vivek are basically like Americans, they're dumb, they don't know any better. Let's bring in these smart people to run it. That's literally the opposite of what like people voted for
Right.
when it comes to Trump. So
Yeah.
how do you explain that contradiction? I mean, because yes, he's an opportunist. He's an opportunist, but it seems to me it's so obvious now that he was playing these cats because he wants something different than what the average Trump voter what MAGA wants, right?
Yeah, and it's even different than what they said they wanted. So, for example, the average Trump voter was for the ACA, but they're not for Obamacare. So,
Yeah.
tricking them into thinking they're for something or not for something that is not too difficult. That's
Right.
not like this huge thing. Like, oh,
It ain't that
he's
complicated. Yeah.
yeah, he's for the exact opposite of what they want. Well, hell, I mean, half the fuck, no, probably 90% of the shit that they say they want, they're not really in favor of. So that's not really a big deal.
Yeah, that's a good
The
point.
fact that the immigration thing is mixed with the biggest part of the platform, which is racism.
Yeah.
So then, which Elon is a racist, but um he is a racist, but he's still with money over race. Like
Right. Right.
money's more important to him than like hating niggas or hating Indian people or Chinese people. Like hey, like I'll work with them if we're gonna make money, then I'm fine with that. Like
Right.
he doesn't have a problem with that. So this visa thing is because the way Trump explained it was all immigrants, no matter what, even those that are born here, that are first generation,
Yeah, you
they're
want to get rid of
gone.
H-1Bs.
Yeah, all immigrants are gone. And so when you say the word all, there was no exceptions
No.
here for anybody. But uh, um, Elon, that's why he didn't say this exception before the election,
No.
Right.
right? Because it's still they had to win based on this racist thing,
Right.
so we couldn't say that. Hey, after the election, there are going to be some stipulations here. There's going to be some wiggle room.
Yeah, we'll kick out Carlos, but
Yeah,
we're not
yeah,
kicking out the
yeah.
PhD student.
Honestly, I don't even think Elon gives a damn about kicking out Carlos.
No, he
No.
doesn't. He
Yeah.
doesn't.
Yeah.
But Elon's not kicking out uh Juanita that works for him and cleans his house. So
No.
like nobody that works for Elon he wants out because
Gone. Yeah.
they're working for him.
Right.
So Elon could care less, but that kind of doesn't matter because Elon knows that you care
Right.
that they're
Yeah.
gone. And
Yes.
so that was the whole point of
Yeah.
Twitter, right?
Yeah.
Right. I know that you care they're gone, so I can say these things. And like I said, he didn't say anything about this H1B visa existed before the election. It was not new, but
No.
Right.
they didn't mention that there
At
were
all.
certain
They didn't talk
immigrants
about it at all.
at all.
No.
They were like all immigrants, those Haitians eating cats,
Yeah.
and dogs
Right.
that are actually here legally. Every immigrant, doesn't matter if they were legal or not, it didn't matter. It's
Didn't
all
matter.
immigrants got to go.
Right.
And he was okay with that. He wasn't really okay with that. He was willing to feed that.
Right.
You know,
Right.
that's the whole. That's kind of goes back to this whole leopard ate my face thing. That's what
Right.
that really is about.
Oh, say this seems kind of early. I mean, eventually, I think Trump supporters are gonna have to say, "Wait, were we played?" This might be the earliest step you would think people would have to look in the mirror and be like, "Were we being lied to?" And yes,
Uh,
I think most Republican, most Trump supporters probably won't get there unless something crazy happens. But even now, if you go on Twitter, you can see like some people are like, "Wait a second, what's going on here?"
well, no. I think they're there because there's a lot that's happening. So the first thing is this. Um, Steve Bannon has stepped up and been like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Because Steve Bannon,
Yeah,
who is the major voice of MAGA behind Trump, right? Like,
yeah.
so
He's the ideologue.
and
He's the
and here
idea. Yeah,
here's the important thing to remember about MAGA. MAGA's old name, right? It's old before it got married to Trump was alt right.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
like all MAGA means is alt right, and all the alt right folks were Steve Bannon. Like these guys were around before Trump got into office politics or anything. Like Steve Bannon's been around for a very long time, right? And off the heels of Rush Limbaugh, it was all this like get everyone out. If you're brown and you speak Spanish, fuck you. If you're Indian or Asian, fuck you. Like you don't deserve to have shit, right? So he's been that way for his whole life. He went to prison for the shit, right? Like he is just that dude. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Flood the zone guy, just put in a whole bunch of bullshit and blah blah blah. So he knows how this game is played. He is not happy about that concept at all because he's taking a look at these tech giants and I'll get into like a little bit of some of the mischaracterization of the H-1B visa in general, but he's like all these CEOs who are running these companies are not white dudes. They're Indian dudes. They're Indian dudes like at Google, at this, at that, and the third, and they are not going to go out of their way to hire Tucker and Cletus to work as in machine learning engineers when Tucker and Cletus can't do it. They're when Vivek says you guys don't have the culture to be able to do this, the reason why it stung so bad for most Americans is they then had to sit back and say, I can't do that shit.
But not only that, it was good that he said the culture because it means y'all will never do this shit.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
You
not
don't
even
have
like
what it takes to do this
yeah,
shit.
You don't have what
you
it
you
takes.
ain't you ain't built like you ain't built like me.
How
You
how
ain't,
how, how many times have I
True.
said
That's how he came at it.
this is the only country where it's cool to brag about being bad at math? Oh my God. I'm so bad at math. Huh? Math is logic.
Yeah, in other countries that they don't, that's not laughing to matter.
yeah.
Yeah.
What? Are you insane? You're bad at math. Math is the easiest. Math is easier than literally. It's like here are the rules of the math. Stick by the rules of the math. Use your logic, and you'll get the answer. And you're like, man, I suck at that.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like you're saying you are telling me you're stupid.
Oh, you're
Like
not logical. You don't
or you're
understand logic.
logical. And that's
Yeah.
the thing. Like so when Vivek is like, you guys don't understand. Like you guys think Zach Morris was awesome. Like you guys, you hail the quarterback and the beauty queen or the high school prom queen, and you didn't read, you didn't do math, you didn't study. Like immigrants are coming over here understanding like that's their lane. Their culture is like work hard, learn the most, sit in the library, blah 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 blah, code until you're dead. And by the time, and here's the thing about the H-1B visa, right? Actually, I'll do this later because I want to make sure we like everyone hears this and understands
Okay.
this because
Well,
it's been horribly mischaracterized.
and
Um,
can I just
but
add on to what you said though
yeah,
about the culture? And it would have worked for America because in the 50s and the 60s, right? Then and the Cold War era, which is I would say is probably the golden age for American, ingenuity and globalization, whatever. It did work because the other countries are so far behind,
right,
right? So then we had time to
Mm.
which we used immigrants to develop like the atomic bomb, but we had time to celebrate the prom queen and the quarterback because at that point, you know, uh, China was still they were still riding horses in China, right?
right,
And Japan was in ruins. Germany was in ruins. UK was basically in ruins after the war. Every other great power
right. Was fucked up.
was fucked up after the war.
Yeah,
So after the war, we had a lot of time to make that whole like I just kind of think of it as like this McDonald's drive-in theaters, the stuff you would see on like Teen Wolf, Varsity
right.
Jackets, that type of what people think of like rock and roll. All these things came
Yeah,
during that
the
time.
underage drinking.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Like leisure
Um,
stuff, like
yeah,
because we're lapping
Yeah,
the field.
especially TV, movies, Hollywood, right? All this stuff, but that's because everywhere else in the world was decimated,
right.
right?
And had
And
to
the, and
bust
the
their
other,
ass to fix their shit.
yeah, and so like, hey, you know what? We already invented the nuclear bomb, so now we can have these the second class citizen invent rock and roll, right?
Right,
And they can invent jazz music, and we can start going to the movies and doing all this stuff because that's where you see this cultural explosion from America, where America's culture now takes over. That's why
Mm.
our celebrities and our movies are played everywhere else in the world because after the war we had this
right.
time of this culture boom,
That's a
right?
great
Yeah,
point.
because
And
we
so
didn't
it worked.
we didn't have to build it like we weren't building out of rubble. Like we
Yeah,
had
No,
time
yeah.
to like do
no,
Hollywood,
no.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Germany
Yeah,
yeah.
never bombed anything in
No,
America.
Sacramento was
Yeah,
fine. It's like even like
right,
yeah.
Orlando was fine. Boston was fine. There was nobody. Nobody, right? So everywhere is fine. The biggest problem we had was there was like a second class citizenship, typically in the South, that wanted rights, and then there were
right,
some Asian people in Vietnam that didn't know their place. That's really all the problems we had.
We
right.
didn't have a lot of problems. I
We didn't
mean,
have a lot of
black people
problems.
had a lot of problems, but you're
Yeah,
talking
no.
about the
So
big
what
Black
he's
people,
saying is like
geopolitical picture.
yeah,
Yes.
white mainstream
geopolitical, yeah,
America had zero problems.
Yeah, white people had
That's
zero
when
problems.
America was great
yeah.
again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that ties it in.
Yeah,
and so to Vivek's point is now that everyone's caught up, like y'all are still trying to make mumble rap and fucking TikTok videos.
right,
That y'all making TikTok videos, y'all should have made TikTok videos in 1955 when
right,
that's when you had time. Y'all don't have time to make TikTok videos anymore.
right.
You
Well,
know,
no, actually, it's not what he said. Like I see what you're saying, but like what he's really saying is, you guys make TikTok videos. That's who you are.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Like, it's not like
That's what y'all do.
he's not saying step your game up. He's like,
No,
your
you're
game is
right. He's
stepped
not.
up. You're done.
And that's a good point. It's like in my culture, I got to right. He's
Right.
like, bruh. That's what he's doing. Where we'll never do it if we're just gonna keep making TikTok videos. And he's
Right.
not really wrong.
Well, see
No, he's not wrong.
the one part about this is usually when conservatives make these critique, they always tie it back into black culture. Like this, like if we just like don't pull your pants up and do this, then we'll be all right. He didn't really make an indictment directly towards black culture. Like he
No.
actually made an indictment like towards culture in general. That
Right.
it's hard to say like, oh, he's talking about black people because that's usually what white conservatives want to hear. Like, oh, yeah, like these black people like they're causing all these problems. Like he's telling like the people that voted for Trump that
Yes.
you're the problem.
Yeah,
Well,
Like
and
you're
that
actually the problem.
that's the part where I don't know if he was drunk or lost his mind, but I don't know why he went on Twitter and was like, "Hey y'all, we need the H-1B visas though because the people in America are too dumb to do the shit I need you motherfuckers to do." Like Vivek,
You're
you
talking about your
like
voters.
honestly, I'm sure you know what happened. I guarantee. Again, I'm speculating. I think he went to some GOP something, and they're like, "You're pretty good for an Indian guy," and he was like, "I'm tired of these yokels who literally can't read telling me I'm like Ann Coulter that one time was like, yeah, I kind of like you. I would have voted for you, but you're Indian." And he's like, "Okay." And he was like, "Okay, all right, bitch." Like I think he got one too many of those where he was like, "Check this out, bro. I'm about to lay a fucking truth bomb on you motherfuckers because we're doing this anyway. We're getting more H-1B visas out
yeah.
here. More Vivek
He's like,
Ramaswamy
you know
coming."
how many white people call me sir? You know what I'm saying? You know how
Yeah.
many
Right,
white people I signed their check for?
right.
And y'all gonna dare that he basically had his like nigga moment. Like, you
It
know
was
what
a
I'm
nigga
saying?
moment.
Yeah.
Yes, it was a nigga moment for
That's all
sure.
he had. It's nigga moment.
Yeah,
You know? And he just decided to do it on Twitter. And the thing is, at the end of the day, Trump's gonna back him.
right.
Yeah.
Which is why he had the nigga moment, and he knew that Elon would back him.
And he knew
So
that. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
because Elon's not even fucking American. So like Elon back, and Elon's like, no, you don't understand what because and this is where I'll get into the way the H-1B visas are done, right? So, um, you guys are not aware of how these things work, right?
Not
Okay,
really.
so the real way that big tech gets their people, what the internet would tell you is they get on a plane like it's fucking air up there, and they go to India to find the best software engineers that they can find, and they say, "You, Raul, get in my plane. I've got a visa for you." And then they just kind of hand them this visa, and they come back to Google, and they're like, "Now sit in this desk, make $85,000 a year and shut your fucking mouth." And he's like, "Yes, sir." And he literally can never go anywhere else. He's done. He's a slave. Like, that's how they paint it.
That's what I thought it was.
No, no, it's not even fucking close.
Okay.
It's ridiculous. That's
Oops.
so okay. So to preface this, right? I have been in tech recruiting for the last 21 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So like I'm the one who actually finds people to like take these jobs, right? I have helped people process H-1B visas. I'm not joking, probably somewhere between 500 to 1,000 times, right?
Okay.
The way that it works is this. These schools are like, we have a software engineering program. That software engineering program, like any other school, needs a certain amount of enrollment, right? Otherwise you don't have a program anymore, right? Like you can't have like one student who's your software engineer. So what ends up happening is they're like, all right, which one of you Americans are going to be able to actually do the software engineering? And they're like, I'm bad at math. And the schools are like, okay. And meanwhile, then what happens is they get this application from India, and someone's like, "Yo, I'm phenomenal at fucking math. Like, I already software program. Here's some of my codes, yada yada. By the way, I know you guys have your test scores. Here are my test scores. They're fucking outstanding." And they're like, "Get that motherfucker over here. Get that motherfucker over here." So then they end up getting a student visa, which is what Elon Musk had, right? And you end up going to school on your student visa, which again, you're gonna want to bust your ass because if you don't get through school, you're fucking going back.
But Osei, before you finish this, let me
Yeah,
just ask you: they're not going to some like random village in India, like right? These are the elite in India, right? Like these are like or whatever country,
it
China,
don't
like
matter. No, to the school, they're not going anywhere, right? So that's the most important thing. So like,
okay,
for instance, Berkeley, right? Berkeley's not like, hey, scout, go out to India and check out no, none of that's happening. What they're doing is they're applying from overseas, whether it be
okay,
China. And honestly, like that's the other thing. It's not just India. It's not like H-1B is just for India. It's there's China, there's Africa. Like it's for anyone. The student visa is for anyone who can actually get into the school. Great example. I'm from Virginia, right? I applied to go to Cal. I got into Cal, but I'm not from California.
yeah.
There's a certain amount that they're like, okay, this amount of people we're going to let in from out of state. You know what I'm saying? Like, but this and the same thing, like this amount of
No one
people.
came from Berkeley to come talk to Virginia to talk to you.
Yeah.
Right, exactly, right. So I have to apply, and they have to be like, okay, cool. Of the people we want to bring in who are from another country or another state, you're one of them, right?
But I guess my question is though, like these people are gifted, they're smart. Like these are the
Oh
people like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
okay,
yeah.
yeah,
Top of the
yes.
top,
Yeah, the top of
top
the
of the
top.
top,
That's my argument. These are the top
top
of
of
the
the
top of
top.
these countries.
Top of the top.
Okay.
And we learned that when we went to Berkeley, and I was like, I think I want to be a computer science major or like an electrical engineer. And I went to electrical engineering 42, and I was like, this is on a curve. Get me the fuck out of here. I'm not going to be able to compete with it because again, everyone in that class was not from America. They were like, dude, I live and breathe electrical engineering since I was 7.
Yeah.
It does, I don't, and for me, it didn't matter if they were like, oh, my father's in the government, or my father's a big, or my father's a rice paddy nigga. Like it doesn't matter. It didn't matter. Like, congratulations, sure, whatever you're trying to do, you won. You won this, right?
Yeah.
So then they go through their 4 years, they end up graduating, and then they get what's called an OPT. An OPT allows them to work for about a year and a half after they graduated without having to go back.
Okay.
And the idea is that when you work for a company, and in that amount of time, the company can evaluate how you're working, and then they can sponsor you for the H-1B. So let's say
Okay.
you do a really good job and you're kicking ass and blah, blah, blah. The company says, you know what, you're doing a really good job. This is that and the third. We're going to sponsor you for your H-1B visa. They sponsor you. It goes into a lottery. Now, here's the other thing. Not everyone gets to have it, even if you apply for it. So if you have a bachelor's degree, I think it's 50% chance that you get it. If you have a master's degree, it's like a 75% chance that you get it.
Okay. Like the more
Right.
educated you are, the higher chance you
More
get it.
educated, the higher. And then you have a PhD, you can get like an O1, which is like, like you're one of the rare people, like it's like an extraordinary visa. It's
Okay.
like, like my dad he had a PhD, he got an O1 visa basically, right? And so from there, once you get your H1B, you start working for the company, right? While you're on your H1B, over a certain amount of time while you're working, you can apply for your green card, right? Your company can help you do that. Now, once you get your green card, then you're good to go. At the same time, let's say you were working at a company, you have your H-1B, and that company is like, you know what? We're gonna mistreat you, we're gonna overwork you, we're gonna treat you like crap. And a recruiter like me calls them up and says, hey, I have a role over here at Meta for a software engineer who has skills like you. And the guy says, that sounds awesome. I'm really interested. What are you paying? I'm calling him, right?
Okay.
Amazon's calling, and so is Netflix. And all of us are saying, we want you over here. This is the misconception about being underpaid and that kind of stuff. This is why you have some of these guys being CEOs. What ends up happening is I say, we can offer you this. And he's like, yeah, but I'm on my visas. Cool, we'll transfer it. So you actually can move jobs. We're like, we'll transfer the sponsorship, but we'll basically like hand it over here. We'll take it. You can work with us, blah, blah, blah. If you quit, you're going back. But at any point in time, you could leave to go to another company.
If you
And
get a new
sometimes they'll be like,
job, you could transfer your visa
you
to
can
another.
transfer your visa,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
So, and at any point in time, they can also be like, you know what, I will transfer it over to you guys, but I need you to like really kick it up on my green card application. That's like the 140, and they'll be like, yeah, sure, no problem, right? And then you talk to the attorneys, and they help you out and blah blah blah. So like the actual H-1B is not like air up there where you go to India and someone's like ooga booga, and you're like, you
Yeah,
sorry,
this doesn't sound like slavery to me.
it's not.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like it's not. They're like, oh, this is just and that's why I say like liberals have to like be careful how they enter the fray, because if you don't actually understand it, you're gonna make people who are here on H-1B visas, who literally at some in some cases are making $250,000 a year, 150,000 in RSUs, great benefits and blah blah blah, sound like they're like nobody knows the trouble I see, and that's not the case.
Yeah.
Like in a lot of cases, that is not the case. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's never the case. There are times when they might be like, you know what, this person's like, we'll sponsor you, but we know you're not in high demand for whatever reason. You're not a good worker, blah, 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 like whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So you will underpay and you can't get another job. So, you know what I'm saying? Like you basically are, that's kind of what Elon does, right?
But okay, but let me ask you. So they're not taking American jobs because you're saying that Americans aren't you're like there aren't not enough Americans qualified.
What did Big Mac say? He's like, why are you mad at me? Why are you mad at me? You guys can't do it. If you could, you do it. You can't.
You know what though? So in Dubai, they have a system that's like the system I thought in my head, like that slavery system. Like they get you in from Bangladesh, or they get you in from an East African nation, maybe whatever, and you are an indentured servant. And the funny thing is, though, these these are supposed to be the white jobs,
Right.
and it's the jobs like picking strawberries, um or or agricultural jobs that are supposed to be the Mexican jobs that white people are okay with saying, well, we don't want to do those jobs,
Right.
we
Those are
don't want
black.
him
Those
to
are
do it
black
either.
jobs. Those are black
Yeah,
jobs.
those are black jobs or brown jobs, but those jobs that Vivek are talking about, those, my good sir, those are white jobs.
Yes.
And now you're saying that, well, I know I'm too good for the nigger jobs,
Right.
but now you're saying that,
I'm not good enough for the white jobs.
yeah, I'm not good enough for the white jobs.
Right.
And you know, whatever type of straight haired dark nigger you are, Vivek,
Right.
uh, I can't have your job. You're out of your mind.
Right. Right.
That's what they
Yeah.
think.
That's what I think. And that's the thing. So because and the thing and that's why I say like the reason why it stung them so hard is when Elon came in there and was like, you guys can't do these jobs. Like it's not he's not saying it and that's the thing, right? Like because rubber has met road, when they used to say like, oh yeah, black people can't do that stuff, it's not because black people can't do it, it's because you literally wouldn't let them, right? So that was the difference. With this, it's more like, no, 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 no. If you go to like Charlie Kirk was like, how come that one guy who went to UW, how come you won't hire him? Because there's three of him, and at the same UW, there's 300 people from a different country. So it's not that you can't hire. In fact, honestly, he gets hired. That white guy does work at Google. He
Yeah.
does work at Facebook. He
Yeah.
does work there. He does. If he can, he does.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yeah.
Like, trust me. If he is able, if he went to school for the thing and he graduated with the
Yeah.
degree in the thing, he's doing the thing. Trust me. Trust me.
Yeah.
Trust me. It's just not enough. And because it's not enough,
Right.
it's just like,
There's not enough of them going for that job where every immigrant is
it's
going for
going
that
for that
job.
job.
Yeah.
So you see what I'm saying? Like it's
Yeah.
and it's a rubber meets road moment where you have these tech bros who have to operate off logic,
Yeah.
and you have MAGA that cannot operate like the kind of like the thing we are talking about earlier. Like they have this visceral reaction to everything. Like I want that job, I can't have it, and they don't think like, bruh, when was the last time you did C coding? What you think you can do AI machine learning? What the fuck are you talking about?
Well, okay, so let me take the devil's advocate. What I think MAGA would argue, who's trying to be logical about it. The argument is, well, if my son was allowed to get into, I mean, it's not logical, but this is the affirmative
Yes,
tie
it
into
does make
affirmative
sense.
action.
Yeah,
But like, if my son was allowed to go to Harvard or Yale instead of Osei or Vivek, he'd learn the skills to be able to take these jobs. So we need to build a system where we're basically supporting, frankly, white people from like college above to get to this level where they can get these jobs, and then that way we would
Don't
need the
don't
H-1B
don't
visas.
don't get rid of the Department of Education.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess that's
Look, invest in STEM, and also tell your son to fucking code now. Tell him to put down the football and code.
yeah, okay. Okay, well, yeah.
Like that's ultimately that's the thing. It's
Well,
like you can't be a white person in America and take a look at all the billionaires that you see on TV. Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, Bezos, all these niggas in tech, and you're like, one day my son will be like you, and that motherfucker's outside throwing a baseball.
yeah, or on a
Sorry.
cell phone. See, but okay, so Chaz, I think it goes back to your argument is that like America was in a very, very unique world historical position after World War II, where they basically had all the tech, all the money, all the influence. And I think a lot of people, it's still in living memory, that system for white people.
Mm.
Yeah,
That's still a big part of living memory. Their grandfather was an engineer at whatever the tech company was back in the
yeah,
day.
IBM. Yeah,
Yeah,
IBM is still.
IBM.
Yeah,
Like, their father, like they still envision a world where the American, the white
the white
guy,
American. Yeah, there
could
you go.
get the jobs and was leading things. And I don't think they've caught up to the idea that like this is really is a globalized society. But see, I guess the final part to this though is it's so plain that that's the case. How did so many people fall for? I guess people just want to be in their
Well,
own
look,
little illusion. I guess that's as simple as that, right?
most of them have never been to California, right? Well, this is
Right.
Silicon Valley. This is what we're talking
Yeah,
about. Right? So you guys, just born and raised there, like most people in the rest of the part of the world, rest part of the country, have not seen four different races in one single day. Where
Right.
that is, you wouldn't even in LA, that wouldn't even be, if you saw only four, that would be crazy that you only saw four,
Right.
right? And
yeah.
so most places in America, they're like, well, what are you talking about? Like, how are we, how are we not the majority there and
Everywhere. Yeah.
yeah, everywhere? Because they've never been to Silicon Valley. They've never, they literally know no Asian people, right?
Right.
Mm.
Like zero. I would actually remember just in the municipality in the city I work for, a firefighter, we have one Asian firefighter. One. Then there's another one who's like his grandfather was. All right, but that's it out of 500 plus employees.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
not
that does
necessarily,
not happen in California,
no, of course not.
especially not Northern California.
No,
Yeah.
nowhere in California. No,
Yeah.
nowhere probably on the entire West Coast. It just doesn't happen. And so I think that they have a hard time grasping all that. But kind of all that being said, we still have this bigger problem here that the person that was duly elected is not the head of state. And
No.
that's really the biggest problem here. Forget this damn visa thing
Right.
and this
That's the elephant in
cannibalism.
the room. That's the elephant in the
Right.
room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's Serpentor.
yeah,
Well,
like
who's Serpentor? Where the fuck did this guy come from?
yeah, like they're having this argument. What do you mean they're having an argument? You're having an argument with what? He's
Right.
not. He's not.
He doesn't have an official position.
He doesn't have a position, and so there's you have
That's
voters.
crazy.
Yeah.
You think
Yeah,
about that's nuts. It's like this dude is not the chief of staff. He's not anything. You're having an argument on Twitter with the guy who owns Twitter, and he's telling you, "Yeah, no, I'm gonna bring in more H-1B visas." It's like,
yeah,
how can
that's
you
how this
even do
country's gonna
that?
run, man. Let me tell you. Let me tell
Well,
you. This is how this country's gonna run. Like
Right.
you don't have. He's not technically supposed to have any power. No, he's
Right.
no.
not. He wasn't appointed power, and he wasn't, more importantly, voted on any power.
Right.
So to say, hey, this is how this country is gonna run, um,
It's crazy.
yeah, that's that is kleptocracy, that is oligarchy, That really is, right? And this is where, and I kind of said this before, where Americans were so arrogant, we thought we were immune to these things. Because in
Yeah.
other countries, and there's kleptocracies, that's how shit really runs. Like
Right.
that's how oligarchies really run. Like the oligarchies, yeah, it's gonna be this way, and no one bats an eye. And all of us are having a conversation like this is wild, but we shouldn't even be having this conversation in the United States of America. How
Right.
are we having a conversation about a a oligarch telling our country how it's gonna play out?
Right. And then
That
calling them
doesn't make sense.
contemptible racists. Like what?
Well, here's
Yeah,
okay,
like
and
what?
this is where I think the media really, really failed America because I think a fundamental and they really were on Biden about his age. They were
Yeah.
really, really on him.
Yeah.
But like Trump is 2 years younger. Like
Right.
Trump is an old ass man.
And
Yeah,
clearly
that wasn't
senile.
fair. That wasn't fair. Even when it happened, and I was one of the last people to the Harris train because I was like, you cannot throw away the sitting president who's not doing
Well, yeah.
not doing poorly. And I was one of the last people to say okay with that. I said okay after Biden said okay. I wasn't even okay with it when he said it. I was like, ah man, it's not a good idea. I was with it afterwards. But that's what happened. We threw out a successful president, and again, like I wonder what Joe Biden, kind of thinks about. Hey, they lost without me, and there has to be a part in his heart that feels I don't know,
No, I
I don't
mean
know,
he's
validated.
no,
Maybe.
Yeah,
it's a cross between validated and pissed because
Yeah.
yeah.
he it, after he's dead and gone on some Jimmy Carter shit, right? Like on
Mm.
some Jimmy Carter shit in 30 years, you're gonna be like, you know who was amazing? Joseph R. Biden. That
Yeah.
was a great president. Like he's gonna be like, thanks, guys. I'm dead. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, because I saw this thing and it was a liberal saying, "Yeah, Carter was a great president." No, he was a good. Now Carter was a very good man. He
yeah,
was probably one of the best men we've had as president, but he just really wasn't very effective at that
No.
job. He wasn't a good president. Biden, which I also believe he's a very good man, Biden was a great president.
yeah.
So it's just insane, like that this is what we went to. It really is.
Well, it's not insane. It's not insane, and it's not insane because of all the stuff we just talked about, right?
Yeah, right, right,
Like,
right.
yeah, and it's funny because Karee shared a video earlier where I literally leached on to this phrase, illusion of inclusion, right? Like this country has done this amazing job. Well, not gonna say this country, but like billionaires has done this amazing job of and there's no better example of this than Trump making poor white people think they are in the same stratosphere as them.
The
Like,
same
you're
club.
my people, you're like me. And they're like, yeah, he takes shits on gold toilets. He's
Literally
not
the
like
Civil
you.
War. The Civil War is the literal example of that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Like, yeah, like exactly. Like people who didn't own slaves were like, one day I can be rich enough to own one. I got
Yeah.
shot in the face. Like, you
Same
idiot. Like, what are you
same thing
doing?
with the Revolutionary War, really,
Yeah.
Yeah.
with the taxes on tariffs on tea.
Yeah,
Like,
that was going on the rich white guys.
yeah. And
Yeah.
they got
The
poor,
forefathers are like, I'm
they got
tired of paying this shit.
yeah, they got poor colonials to be the Massachusetts Minutemen. Like it's the same thing. And that's probably not just white people. That's probably globally. The rich and powerful have gotten the poor
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
do their bidding.
Yeah.
Historically,
By
it's just
aligning with
how.
yeah.
Yeah, it's human nature, I guess.
But here's the funny part about social media. Like social media did fuck up the timeline, but at the same time, the problem with social media is that it allows people to create certain echo chambers that if they take, I mean, that's what Russia was doing, right? Russia was like, let's create an echo chamber and get people to do what we want them to do. The thing about social media is that you could get away with that. You could get away with that system very easily, but with social media and people sharing information almost so quickly, it's hard to rebut. As we've seen with this Vivek and Elon stuff, that it becomes a little bit more difficult. It's still not hard because again, if you can control the echo chamber, congratulations. But if you lose control of the echo chamber, I don't know what's going to happen to you. And that's what we're seeing right now, right?
Yeah.
Like Elon was like, I'm controlling all the echo chambers. And Vivek chose violence on a Thursday, whatever day it was, and was like, you whites are lazy and dumb. You dumb, lazy, ignorant whites. And for whatever reason, Elon was like, yeah. And
Now,
that's
okay, so Osei, do you think this? I mean, because to me, this that kind of does seem like a big deal. I mean, is
a
this
huge
something?
deal.
Okay, so this is something where people aren't gonna like just forget, like oh whatever, like
Steve Bannon
because
won't let you. Because now
yeah,
there's a power struggle, right? Because
yeah,
Bannon was in jail and got out and was like, yeah, we're back. And Elon was like, nigga, I'm here. Right. And Bannon and Elon, that's never gonna be a thing.
yeah,
Yeah, like Elon's like Bannon, while you were gone, while you were locked up, dog, I was doing the work.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
right. Like I was giving him money. Who the fuck is you? You was in
Yeah,
jail begging to get pardoned and shit, right? So now you have this
Oh wow,
power struggle within the thing, which is why it's like, oh yeah, all libs have to do is sit back and be like,
but I don't know if they're going to be able to do that because really, here with the upcoming Congress, Dems have to hold the line and not vote for anything. It
anything.
nothing.
could be like, hey, we want to. It doesn't matter how great it is. It
Right.
does not matter. They
Right.
can't vote for it.
They
So
can't.
and this is where I think they messed up the last time when Kevin McCarthy was up for the vote. I think they messed up because
They did.
they made a deal with him and he went
Yep.
back on the deal immediately. I
How do
well because again they're thinking in terms of there's no way you would do that because that would be fucking stupid.
But
That would
right when they made that deal with McCarthy, I knew. And I said I remember thinking to myself, they know he's gonna backpedal on them. They know he's not good
either
enough
either
work.
either either they were on some super duper long game shit, or what I think that the issue with Dems is they're Care Bears, right? So they're
Yeah.
like, we still have to do good by the right of the country. And it's like, guys, sometimes you have to, but you have to be the Avengers. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you have to take a missile and shoot somebody in the face with it. You know what I mean?
Well, I get. Okay, well, here's the thing, and I'm not going to defend Democrats here, but I think there's an argument to be made. Is like, how can you have a functional government if you have a party, a balance of power system like we have. So sometimes there's going to be one party in power, one party, and you have to like work together. How can you have a functional system if they could just go back on their word and be like, never mind.
Well,
I know we
no,
had a
no,
deal. So like,
but you know,
But that's
but
what
that's the thing. You know they're gonna do that.
yeah, that's my point is that you know they're gonna do that, and that's kind of what Dems need to do. Dems can say they're even gonna make deals, but they can't. They can't make no deals.
They
They
actually have to
have
do
to
the
play.
opposite. Like if I was the Dems, I like listen because Mike Johnson's going to come to them, right? Mike Johnson's going to be like,
He
"Hey
has
guys,
to. He has to.
I really need your help." Blah 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 blah. This that.
They
And
can't.
what they should do is they should say like, "Okay, check this out. We're going to get these 10 blah 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 to do the things, and don't worry, we got you. Like all we're saying is in the future, like work with us." Seems like, okay, sure. And when it comes
Yep.
to voting time,
Yep.
be like, "We don't know what the fuck you talking about."
Yes. That's what
Right?
they need to do.
And he'd be like, the Dems told me that they had 10 people, and they'd be like, I don't know why he's saying that to you guys. That
Yeah.
motherfucker's crazy. And why would he trust us? Actually, fuck you, motherfuckers. Hakeem Jeffries for speaker. And eventually, what's going to end up happening, because they're not going to be able to certify the election, Hakeem Jeffries is going to end up being speaker.
okay,
You
so
know,
so
I
as a
thought about that. Go ahead, Karee.
well, I was just say as a political matter, I would agree with you. But if maybe I'm maybe being too naive or looking at our system nobly, but like I feel like if you're gonna play that game, it's gonna lead to a crisis, like a major
Fuck
crisis.
this place
Wait,
up.
wait, 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 wait. Time out, time out,
So
time out.
okay,
We are in a crisis. We have an
okay,
oligarch who just
yeah.
Yeah.
said we were in a crisis. But
Blow this bitch up.
yeah, like it's over already. We lost everything, and so we're in a crisis.
Okay.
I agree that they're not going to because I don't think they have they don't have the balls for it. That's what I think. I think it's more like what you said. Well, guys, we gotta save America. Americans are gonna be hurt by this. And they are right. Americans are gonna be hurt by this. And people are gonna I think some of these Democrats are gonna think, you know,
My
Well,
constituents are
yeah, I have
complaining.
constituents in New Jersey that care about me, that sent me here to do the work of the
Job,
people.
yeah, all that
Fuck
shit.
that work, though. Fuck that work. Fuck that work. Fuck all the niggas in Connecticut, New Jersey. Fuck them,
And
man.
honestly, and that's the route to go. That
It
is the route
has
to
to
go.
be. If you
Yeah.
want to get back, if you want to get back, yo, fuck California, fuck Massachusetts,
Right,
fuck all them states, man. Fuck
right.
them, because it's a federal game, so you cannot worry about your constituents in Massachusetts. You know what?
Right. Like
Massachusetts
I'll do
becomes,
some, after Hakeem Jefferson becomes speaker. I'll give you something.
yeah.
We'll do
You know
something nice.
what? Because in another 2 years, Massachusetts, California, we're just gonna send some other Democrat there. That's all
Right.
we're gonna do.
That's all we're gonna
So
do.
don't worry about your damn seat. This is not about you anymore. If you want to save the country, you gotta let it burn.
So
Right.
Chaz, so your argument, like with Elon Musk, we're basically in a full-fledged plutocracy now. So like
Yeah.
Yeah.
basically the only way out of it is we just basically the Democrats have to participate in or not participate, they have to that intervene if I'll give a fire analogy. If the house is burning down, Chaz, you're saying that the Democrats can't come in with a hose.
No, I
They
mean there's actually a firefighting technique for this, right? And
okay.
a lot of times it's found out west. So it's wildland firefighting typically is where you see it. You do see it in buildings too, but typically wildland firefighting. You'll have the fire coming up, right? You'll burn all of this land in front of it
Yeah.
because you know, like, hey, I'm gonna burn 3 miles, 3 square miles in front of the fire
Right.
because
Yeah.
once it
Yeah.
gets there, it stops.
It's
It
literally,
can't.
it's literally where fire fight fire with fire comes from.
You're fighting fire with fire, right? That's
Right.
exactly what you're doing. So instead of letting that fire go as long as it wants to, you're like, we're gonna take some more L's. We're gonna burn it all down because then it won't be able to go past this fire
Right.
line,
Right.
right? And so that's
Ah.
literally
That's
what they do.
exactly what this is. Yeah.
Burn it. You
Right.
got to. You got to because you want to save the rest of it. I mean, it's the same thing as like amputation, right? It's the same exact thing. Man, we're gonna have to take this arm off, or
You're
you
dead.
could, yeah, pick out a funeral plot. Like, where do you want to be buried?
Right.
Or we amputate. It's time to amputate.
So
Right.
we're basically amputation stage.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
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 The thing that you're wincing at is like you're like anesthesia, like it's gonna hurt. Yeah, we don't have morphine. There's no
Yeah.
anesthesia. There's no morphine. Hey, here's a sip of whiskey. Bite on this piece of gold,
Right.
and it is going to hurt.
A lot.
the
But
way
A lot, and you might not get voted back in office. You might not, but cut it off.
the
right.
reason why I'm wincing is just because it's wild because 49% of the country did not vote for this. Like literally 49% were just like, what are we doing here? But 51% was like, yes, this is what we want. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
I guess we do have to find out. You're right.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like because you have to like that pain is necessary for people to be like, okay, so in the next hopefully 12 years, I won't make this fucking mistake again, right? Because like I said before, once you get to a point where and the thing about American politics is that it's so complicated that having like a straight oligarchy is actually still kind of hard because we're so diverse, right? Like it's easier to have an oligarchy in Russia where everyone's just fucking Russian. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's easy to have, Nazi Germany when it's basically like a grip of fucking Germans and a little bit of Jews and you don't really have niggas, you don't really, you know what I'm saying? Like you don't
Or
like
China. China's a good example too.
that is a great example. Like you
Yeah.
could have communism work in China because it's like all you motherfuckers are the same. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
all the same thing. You know what I mean? America's too melting potish for it to just be like that. I mean, this is why motherfuckers get shot in the back of the head in New York, right? Like it's too melting potish. There are too many different thoughts. It really is like five countries rolled into one. Like the South and the Northwest are typically the same country because they pay taxes and speak the same language, but they're not really speaking the same language. Somebody from Alabama goes to Washington and asks for, a milkshake, and the person that is like, "What the fuck did you just say?" Like
Yeah.
there are people in New Orleans who like will literally sit there and have a conversation with you, and you'll be like, "You sound like Boomhauer. I didn't understand a word you just said."
Yeah. I barely understand what you're saying.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, so like we're the same country, but we're not. Which is kind of a weird. It's like a continent, really. Like, the United States of America, the mainland, is really like kind of like a continent.
Yeah, we're
So it's
huge.
it's it's kind of difficult to be like, oh yeah, well, I'm just gonna buy everybody without people being like, nah, fam, right? Which is what you
Yeah,
were saying. Like it's kind of like, okay, cool, I'm just gonna buy all you guys. And by the way, like I'm gonna import these H-1Bs. Now, typically in an oligarchy, you're like, aye, captain, right? Like
Yeah.
people just go with it.
yeah,
Like kind of what Chaz was saying earlier. It's like people just motherfucking go with it. But people in America, like, I'm sorry, what? And when I say
yeah,
people in America, black people are like sipping daiquiris on the side, like I. How does his dick taste? Because you guys were doing that to us for ages. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? Like I walk into a room and I'm like, I have a Berkeley degree, I have an MBA, I have a TEDx talk, I have this, I have that, and the third. I own my own business, blah, blah, blah. And people will be like, I don't know if I should hire you for this job. You know what I'm saying? Like I should
Are
like, and
you?
I'm
You're not
like,
qualified.
uh, dude, I'm telling you, it's like
Yeah,
what? Like I helped the EV go from 120 people to 1,500, and they eventually went exit. And it's like, how do you say your first name again? Like, it's like okay, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, we're still America.
yeah,
Yeah,
like, but you know, what I'm saying? And then Vivek is like, by the way, I'm treating you like I would do Osei, and then this motherfucker is like, huh? It's like, yeah, welcome to the party, pal. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, if America was truly a meritocracy, I would be Elon fucking Musk.
yeah. So,
Mm.
so, so, I guess in a way, you kind of respect what Vivek did then.
Oh, absolutely, I
Well,
respect.
yeah, I mean, you have
I
to.
respect. You have to, because Vivek
Yeah,
was like, you're, because Vivek is me. I'm telling you, Vivek went to a room and someone was like, "You're pretty good for an Indian feller," and he was like, "Okay,
yeah,
I'm a fucking billionaire, bro. Like, who the fuck are you talking to like this?"
yeah.
You know what I mean? And he was like, "Let me go on Twitter real quick and then stir up some shit."
I think it's so wild to me, and I guess we can close out on this, is that I feel like Republicans, politicians, they have such contempt for their own voters, and they're not really doing a great job pretending. I guess
No,
Trump did. I think Trump did a good job, I guess. But all these other guys like Elon and Vivek, they secretly hate their voters.
yes.
Like,
Well, that's not
Remember,
secretly.
Karee,
oh
they're
no,
not
I guess the point is
voters.
not secret. They're
Yeah,
openly they have
but the
contempt.
thing is, billionaires didn't go through life catching a lot of L's,
Of
Right.
course, yeah,
right? That's why they're billionaires. So like
yeah,
he like that confidence in saying I can say whatever I want. I'm worth a billion dollars.
yeah.
Right.
They feel like they can keep it real, but they weren't keeping it real during the election. But you're Chaz, you
No,
kind of argue that they were playing a game.
yeah, playing a game. It's a plan, right?
Now they can keep it real.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because I mean it's done. Like, and
Done.
the rule, and the weird thing about American society is the rules to replace some bullshit are so the standard is so high.
It is.
You know what I'm saying? Because at no point in time could like when people were saying like I wish I could I regret my vote, whatever. They still don't have an like the people literally 68% of the country could be like, fuck this guy, I want to replace him,
Doesn't matter.
and it does not matter.
No.
No, it doesn't matter.
You're stuck with that guy. And that guy could currently be like kicking the nation in the nuts. And you're just stuck with him. And you can go to your representative and be like, get him out of there. Representative be like, nah.
And also, I think along those lines, I think Elon thinks, maybe even Trump and a lot of these guys think like, we're gonna do our plutocracy, and then when election time comes again, we'll take over Twitter, we'll take over the Joe Rogan
Yeah,
show, we'll talk about trans,
right.
we'll talk about like how the border's being overrun
Do all
because
the same shit.
liberals.
Yeah.
We'll run the same game plan and we'll win again, even though we're gonna do our own program when we get in. So like, I do think there's a little bit of hubris going on,
There's a
and
lot of hubris.
I don't know if it's gonna work, but it could work. Like I like it could work. So
Because the memory's so short.
yeah, because memories
Right.
are very short now.
I mean, obviously they voted for Trump back in again. The last like
Right.
Yeah, so yeah, there you go. Yeah. So
so
all right, fellas. Yeah, that was a good discussion. I guess we'll be talking about our plutocracy with Elon as prime minister going forward, and Trump could. I guess he's head of state, so he'll like play
Trump's gonna
golf
golf for
play
4 years
golf and hang
and hang
out
out
and
and just be like, are we still deporting Mexicans? Yeah, okay, cool. Tariffs, like that's terrorists deport Mexicans, and I don't even think he can get his taxes. I don't think he can get his
yeah,
tax.
because and I guess we can talk about this later, but like he's an old man. I mean, he's an old man,
Yeah,
and
Either way.
yeah, he don't care.
yeah, he's slowing down. So like, yeah. Um,
And he's a
anyways,
convicted felon.
It's a convicted felon.
That cannot be forgotten.
And an adjudicated rapist, which I
Yeah,
guess for
yeah.
like 52% of white women, it didn't matter. But we could
Which
talk.
really just means rapist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, all right,
Because he said
guys.
he was a rapist. He was like, I finger bitches. Like, and they just
Man,
let me do it.
this is the
They just
worst
let me
time.
do it.
This is the worst timeline. But I guess we just have to let it
It's
burn.
like Doctor Strange, like in Avengers, where Doctor Strange is doing that head thing and looking through it. It's like, oh, they don't
Yeah.
win.
He saw this one. He was like, ugh.
Yeah. How this
What's the one
happened?
where there's absolutely no chance of them winning? There's
What?
one like that, and
One
that's
Yeah.
one.
Swords.
Yeah,
That's the one.
and that's the one we're in.
Yeah. Man, crazy.
Yeah.
All right, fellas. Let's talk again soon.
All right.